But our main talking point tonight is to do with Iraq, or one of our talking points at least. Is it ever the right idea to keep a dictator in power if they keep a lid on rivalries? Sunni militants have strengthened their hold on parts of northern Iraq, securing the town of Tal Afar, west of Mosul. The US says it's considering whether to launch drone strikes to halt the advance of the militants. Here, William Hague has ruled out British involvement in the military action. The Conservative MP, Rory Stewart, said there was no quick and easy solution to the latest developments.
These are horrendous people. They pose a serious threat to the West. But we have to get beyond that into really thinking seriously about what we can do rather than what we feel we ought to do, because essentially all the money that we spent, all the troops that we sent under David Petraeus and backed by Ryan Crocker in the big surge in Iraq in 2007-8, was intended to deal with precisely this. And 4 years later, it's popped up again. So if we couldn't do it then with those tactics, what are we supposed to do now?
Olivier Guitta is from the Henry Jackson Society, a UK-based think tank which promotes Western democracies. Hello to you, Olivier.
Hello, Simon.
Thank you for coming on the programme. And
Pleasure.
what do you say to people who say, look what the West did?
Look, the issue at this point is not really if we should have get rid of Saddam or not, but really the social fabric of such a country. Remember that people that make the case that Saddam would have been better off with Saddam today forget that he was a bloody dictator. He gassed the Kurds, and that's how he could get the people to obey his orders. As of today, I would put to you that what the government of Maliki has been doing has been pushing sectarianism within the country, and there's no living together at this point. So the Kurds and the Sunni and the Shias are totally separated, and it goes back to even education. I spoke to someone on the ground last week that said that within the school system, kids as young as 6 or 7 are taught to hate other sects, and that's what worries me, is the future of this country and the social fabric and the sectarian issue that is pushing people to just kill each other for what they are.
Yeah, I mean, that level of religious fervour is impossible to dampen, is it not? You know, this is the dominant religion in the Middle East, and indeed, you know, it has these two divergent versions, doesn't it? The Shia and Sunni strains of it, and how will you ever reconcile them?
I mean, the way it happened is that it has to be done within their own sects. So in order for you to clamp down and get ISIS under control, you're going to need the help of the Sunni population to get them in control. And that's what happened going back to the surge at the end of 2006, 2007. The Americans reached out to the Awakening Council, the Sunni tribes, in order to tell them, you have to deal with Al-Qaeda. Nobody else can do it. The problem is, you know, this worked for 2 years, but the West gave its word that it would be in Iraq for a long, long while, and then elections changed that whole fabric. But we have to go back to the drawing board, and we have to get the Sunni within their ranks to fight off. But what we've seen in the past few days is that the way ISIS was able to gain territory is that they got complicity, and everybody within the Sunni camps think that at this point Maliki is the enemy, and that they're much worse off today than 2 years ago, okay, and that he has clamped down on them, and they don't see why they shouldn't be joining the ranks of ISIS, and that's where the problem lies.
Yeah, there are those, Olivier, who say, you know, the Middle East is so, you know, difficult and an impossible situation to reconcile. You look at Syria as well. That why don't we just leave them to it? You know, can't we just, you know, end our interest there? Perhaps when we become energy dependent, we can do that, or independent. Is that not a viable option? Why not just let them fight it out themselves?
Unfortunately, in a globalized world, this would not fly. I mean, if you see the repercussions of what happened in Syria and how, in a way, the West decided not to get involved, we are, one way or another, paying the price today. Because obviously either France or Britain or the US not intervening and saying, we don't want to have anything to do with this, then all the other players in the world that are involved, by not one way or another getting encroached in that conflict. Now, almost a year after talking about military intervention, there are talks about President Obama ordering strikes within Syrian territory to get rid of ISIS. So, unfortunately, the word is catching up with us, and there's no way we can say we're not going to get involved. This is not 1914 any longer, and there's no isolation that will save us from this, unfortunately. On top of it, look at the factor of the returning jihadists. The fact that some British citizens are going to fight both in Syria and Iraq and coming back here emboldened and radicalized and being potential terrorists attacking the homeland. So there's unfortunately no way of washing our hands saying, let's get out of there.
Who knows what atrocity they could commit when they come back. Yeah. All right, Olivier, thank you for that. That's Olivier Guitta. He's from the Henry Jackson Society, which is a UK think tank which promotes Western democracies.